Good evening, everyone. I'm reporting live with the latest update on today's top story. I am Joy Samuel. Here are the headlines for today. Trump's big beautiful bill could trigger a U.S. debt crisis and Bitcoin boom. Ex-Vice President Kamala Harris campaign advisor joined Coinbase Advisory Council. Bitcoin slides to $103,000 as Israel launches airstrikes on Iran. 200 million PI network tokens removed from liquidity reserve. Altcoin season 2025 to kick in as US and China seal trade deal. Welcome once again. Trump's big beautiful bill could trigger a US debt crisis and Bitcoin boom. Trump's big beautiful bill could trigger a US debt crisis and Bitcoin boom. President Trump's debt-heavy bill could speed up the devaluation of the US dollar. With higher inflation looming, Bitcoin may be one of the few real hedges left. Devaluations typically occurs fairly abruptly during debt crisis. This quote from Ray Dalio's book, The Changing World Order, hit harder today than when the billionaire hedge fund manager first wrote it in 2021. And for good reason. The US may be walking straight into one. The US budget deficit exceeded $6 trillion in 2024, and Elon Musk, the former head of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, saw his efforts to cut federal spending fail, with just $180 billion streamed out of the $2 trillion that he promised. Interest rates remain at 4.5% as the Federal Reserve worries about the trade war's impact on inflation. Currently, the yield on 10 years treasuries still hovers above 4.35%. The big beautiful bill will prompt higher inflation. The big beautiful bill has been making headlines and breaking celebrity bromances since early May. At over 1,100 pages, the bill gathered the greatest hits of past GOP policies: extended 2017 area tax cut, elimination of former President Biden's green energy initiatives, and higher eligibility for Medicaid and SNAP benefits. It also authorized a major expansion of immigration enforcement and raised the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. According to the Non-Partisan Congressional Budget Office (CBO), the bill would cut federal revenue by $3.67 trillion over a decade, while reducing spending by only $1.25 trillion. That is a net addition of $2.4 trillion to the already jaw-dropping debt pile of almost $37 trillion. Another non-partisan forecaster, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, added that when taking interest payments into account, the bill cost could rise to $3 trillion over a decade, or to $5 trillion if temporary tax cuts were made permanent. Some of the bill's supporters argued that tax cuts could stimulate the economy and pay for themselves. However, the experience of the 2017 tax cuts showed that even including positive economic effects, they had increased the federal deficit by almost $1.9 trillion over a decade, according to the CBO. The numbers matters, but what's unfolding is bigger than a trillion here or there, as Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin put it. You are arguing over twigs and leaves when you are ignoring the forest that's on fire. The spiral of budget deficit and debt has already sucked in the US economy, and there is no credible plan to resolve it. Ex-Vice President Kamala Harris campaign advisor joined Coinbase Advisory Council. David Plouffe previously worked as an advisor for Acme Pay, Binance, former President Barack Obama's and former Vice President Kamala Harris' presidential campaign. David Plouffe, who worked as an advisor on former U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris' 2024 presidential campaign, will be joining Coinbase Global Advisory Council. In a Thursday notice, Coinbase said Plouffe will join former lawmakers, industry leaders, and others on the company advisory council, seemingly to advise the exchange on policies moving forward in the US and abroad, as well as its role in future elections. The appointment of Pluff to the council marked one of his first roles in crypto and policy since leaving Harris' campaign. It's important to understand that someone who holds crypto or stablecoin might not be the most important issue to them voting, Pluff said at Coinbase State of Crypto Summit, adding that if you are a politician running for office, the ability to talk to folks who may be crypto enthusiasts who aren't sure whether they are going to participate, maybe they haven't participated before. Crypto may be the entrance, but then you can talk about your economic plan beyond that. Pluff's addition to the Coinbase Council could signal effort by the exchange to continue to remain politically active in the US. Bitcoin slides to $103,000 as Israel launches airstrike on Iran. Jan 3 founder Samson Moa tells GameStop CEO, "This is where you buy," as Bitcoin price tumbled after Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Iran. Bitcoin has tumbled closer to the psychologically important $100,000 price level, dashing traders' hopes of a new all-time high after Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Iran. Explosion reportedly rocked Iran's capital of Tehran at 11:50 p.m. UTC on Thursday before Israel claimed responsibility for the attacks, which saw Bitcoin drop to 2.8% from $106,042 to $103,053 within 90 minutes, before slightly recovering to $104,370 at the time of publication, according to CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin downtrend caught optimistic traders off guard. The drop caught traders offside, with approximately $427.84 million in long position liquidated over the past 24 hours. According to CoinMarketGlass data, on Tuesday, Bitcoin had climbed as high as $110,265, just below its May 22 all-time high of $111,940. Although gold and oil prices have risen to 1.44% and 11% over the past 24 hours, some crypto analysts believe this outperformance could quickly change. Bitcoin entrepreneur Anthony Pompliano said that oil and gold are currently rising and Bitcoin is falling. He added that the initial reaction is exactly what happened when Iran launched hundreds of rockets at Israel in October as Bitcoin plunged 3%. Bitcoin ended up outperforming the other two over the first 48 hours in that situation, Pompliano said. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. 200 million PI network token removed from liquidity reserve. A major transaction involving 2 million PI token recently took place on the PI network. These tokens were removed from a liquidity reserve and moved to a new wallet, sparking speculation across the crypto community. Moon Jeff, a popular crypto commentator on X, has shared about his major movement. He believed this was an OTC, which is over-the-counter purchase, where tokens are bought privately rather than through public exchanges. This type of move indicates that someone probably purchased the tokens privately, not on public exchanges. Such moves tend to be perceived as bullish since they indicate that large investors are still stacking up PI tokens. At press time, the price of PI coin is around $0.6418, showing a 1.78% increase in the last 24 hours. It also dropped around 4% over the last month and 1.6% over the past week. While the price hasn't moved much, the token transfer might be adding some positive sentiment. However, PI is still near its all-time low and far away from the all-time high. Jeff recently said, "Send PI back to $1.2, pointing to that price as a key resistance level. He believes if PI can break through that level, it could begin a strong comeback and possibly reach $2 in the future." Some commenters reacted sarcastically to Moon's Jeff optimism, saying it's unlikely PI will recover soon. Many feel investor confidence is low and that the PI core team needs to do more to regain trust. The PI community is now focused on June 28th, known as the PI Day 2. It's a significant event when the PI team typically provides milestones and updates. Many users are expecting something big, such as a high anticipated Binance listing. One analyst, Dr. Altcoin, criticized the team for not delivering enough value or clear updates to the community. He believes the team must take stronger actions to support the project and attract long-term investors. Some PI pioneers who completed the required KYC verification say they still haven't received their tokens. In short, while big transactions like the 200 million PI move will bring some hope, the road ahead for PI network is still uncertain. Altcoin season 2025 to kick in as US and China seal trade deal. In the last few months, the US-China trade war brought turbulence to the global market. Whether traditional market or digital currency, every asset of class experienced a roller coaster ride. However, these trade tensions are now fading away as US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping move towards finalizing a trade deal. Thus, it has sparked speculations of the altcoin season 2025 kicking in. Following a rocky stretch marked by reciprocal tariffs and export restrictions, the US and China have agreed to a truce that may relieve some of the most punishing economic burdens on both parties. The agreement, result of high-stakes talks in London and Geneva, is subject to formal signature. It would also establish a framework for China to resume supplying the US with rare earth elements, such as minerals used in the automotive, semiconductor, and technology industries. The US, in turn, lowered the tariffs on Chinese products. The tariffs were cut down from 145% to 55%, and China was offered to drop its tariffs on American goods from 125% to 10%. After sealing the deal, in a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote, "Our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities, which has always been good with me. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter." The deal holds a pivotal position due to a number of reasons. Firstly, it eases concerns of a more serious crisis in the global supply chain, especially in the sector dependent on rare earths, with China producing 60% of the world's total and almost 90% of the processing. Secondly, it sends a message that both economic superpowers are ready to back down from the abyss and bring some credibility to international trade patterns. Nevertheless, not everyone is happy about the deal. Most US companies, particularly small and medium enterprise, claims that tariffs are still too high and will still serve as a tax on American consumers and businesses. Retail giants such as Walmart, which import most of their products from China, have threatened to raise prices. Meanwhile, small business advocacy groups are labeling the new tariff regime as a death sentence to those who rely on Chinese imports. However, the deal has brought some optimism to international markets. The S&P 500 say was modestly higher as the traders rejoiced at the possibility of the stabilization of US-China relations and the revival of the essential supply chains. Not only the traditional investors but crypto fans are also feeling relieved with this deal. Investors and analysts are now speculating that this can escalate the crypto market to the next altcoin season. Let's take a look at people's sentiment reaction on today's crypto market, the Fear and Greed Index. As of June 13, 2025, the CoinMarketCap Crypto Fear and Greed Index stands at 61, indicating a sentiment of greed in the cryptocurrency market. This suggests that investors are exhibiting increased optimism, which could imply that the market is becoming overheated and may be due for a correction. That's all for now. We'll continue to bring you the latest update as more information becomes available. Stay with us for more breaking news and do well to subscribe, like, share and comment your thoughts for real-time interaction. Reporting live from Crypto News Hack, I am Dosdamo. Thank you for watching. Good night.